let's talk about Stellar Blade. Okay, now Stellar Blade, I told you guys. All right. When we first reported on Stellar Blade, if you remember my videos and if you remember my streams, I specifically said that they are going to be going public. Okay. And with them going public, it's not going to end well. It never ends well when a company goes public like Shift Up. It just doesn't. Okay. Very rarely, 9.9 times out of 10, it's going to end badly for the gamer and the consumer. And what ended up happening was, well, they've officially gone public, and they actually gone public so successfully that they're the second highest, I think, in record for a while now. They're the second highest in all of South Korea. That's how much support they got for going public. Now, they haven't gotten any. Let me make it very clear for those of you who probably don't know. Okay, we're going to get into it, but for those of you who don't watch the videos very long on a Hypnotic Live for some reason, because you guys are weird, they made it very clear that so far there has been no ESG investment. Okay, not to my knowledge anyway, at least not from the companies that we know, right? BlackRock, Vanguard, all these guys, even I forgot the one that's in the UK. I forgot the name of that one. There is no ESG investments that I know of anyway. However, the reason why people are worried is because now what's happening is that they are going to be hiring an employee to publish ESG reports. Okay. That's where the fear comes into play. That's where we realize, oh, okay, things are about to get interesting, right? Anytime they go public and they start taking in investor money, I guarantee you what's going to end up happening is that in Stellar Blade 2, it is not going to be anywhere near what Stellar Blade 1 was. I just don't see it happening. And you can say maybe they'll change Eve, maybe they'll make her fatter, maybe they'll make her face not as pretty, whatever the case may be. But they are going to change up the game at some point in time. The outfits probably won't be as sexy, most likely. But I think what ended up happening was this was an obvious attempt for Shift Up to try to make as much money as humanly possible to give them the biggest leverage before they went public. So they released this game private, right? They released Stellar Blade private, and that allowed them to garner a lot of favor, that allowed them to garner a lot of money, and that with that favor and money, that increased their overall profitability when they went public. So they ended up essentially using gamers to get what they want. Because at the end of the day, it's all about being, getting money. I mean, it's a corporation at the end of the day. So now I would be very curious to see if they even end up patching Stellar Blade and trying to change things, because from all the backlash, they ended up going backwards, right? They ended up releasing the new outfits that are apparently uncensored versions of the previously censored ones. They ended up doing all these things that seemed like they were going to go in the right direction. But considering that they're going to be hiring an ESG reporter, that is not going to do very well. I'm telling you right now, what's going to end up happening is that Sony is going to have a little bit of influence. I guarantee you, especially with Stellar Blade 2, they're probably going to try to negotiate some more influence over how the direction of the game goes. And Shift Up is now going to have to listen to the rules and regulations of investors. That's the worst part about all this, right? Because let me make something very clear, guys. When they talk about the modern audience, right? A lot of you guys think the modern audience is like ultra leftists, LGBTQ, black gamers, whatever. That's what people think of when they think of modern audience. But you know who the modern audience is? The real modern audience are ESG investors. That's the real modern audience, right? So when these corporations, when these studios, when they make video games for the modern audience, they're making video games in the hopes that they can garner as much ESG investment as humanly possible. It's free money. So why wouldn't they do it? That's the modern audience. It's not the gamers. It's not the LGBTQ. It's not the black. They only use those people. They use those people to garner more ESG money. That's the only thing that they do. They don't care about LGBTQ people. They don't care about black people. They don't care about Latinos. They don't care about any of that. They only care about it if it's going to get them more money. And also keep in mind, too, these executives are looking to line their pockets now versus lining their pockets in 10 years. They don't care about getting money 10 years from now and building an IP and a platform and a game that's going to stand the test of time. That's not what they care about. They care about lining their pockets now. So if they cater to ESG investors and they get the ESG money, their bonuses are tied to ESG money. I feel like everybody knows that at that point. Even Disney openly admitted that the executive bonuses are tied to ESG oriented things. So why would any of these companies be any different? Their money is tied to that stuff. So they are going to focus on that through and through. And every decision that they make for the game is going to be tailored around ESG. Always, 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 right? So let's get into this and talk about it, okay? It says Games Industry reports that the IPO is the largest one in South Korea in over 2 years and the first to raise over $50 million since PUBG developer Krafton raised $3.8 billion in 2021. In fact, it was the second largest IPO in South Korea in 2024, only behind HD Hyundai Marine Solutions' $553 million offering earlier this year. So keep in mind, the number one publicly traded company right now is Hyundai Marine Solutions in South Korea at $553 million, right? Shift Up raised $320 million. It's pretty wild. That's a crazy, that's insane, considering that it's a gaming studio in South Korea. That is nuts, right? So crazy money. And they did this. They did 320 million off the backs of good press and gamers, right? Obviously, they had bad press with the censorship. Everybody knows that. But at the end of the day, man, people loved the game. People enjoyed the game. And there was good word of mouth around it. That's why the gaming journalists were trying to get it canceled. Now, here we are making that money off the backs of gamers. And now they went public and, this is what we're dealing with. And I got to wonder, publishing for an ESG oriented, employee, I wonder how this is going to affect the eventual PC release, because a lot of people were waiting for the PC release. I guarantee you the PC release would have did way better if it was released before this announcement. Now that this has been announced, I think this is going to hurt the game quite a bit. But let's continue. After the company went public, a job posting on the company's website was discovered by GigaBear, which is for an IR representative or manager. One of the duties of this position is to lead a team in the publication of ESG reports. So I'm sure by going public, they have certain requirements that are needed of their company to be publicly traded, right? Because every single one of these companies that we know, all these gaming studios that we know, they all have these particular positions. We all know that. This is nothing new. This is nothing shocking, right? So with that being said, we got to think about it. Okay, they clearly did this after going public. So this means they're just going to follow the same trend every other company is doing.